Man, you guys are not wasting any time.
Woohoo. How's it going, Cody?
It is going, good sir. It is going. Ooh, my hair's a mess. Admit all. The masses are forming. Greetings, gents.
Howdy.
We are live.
What up? What up?
Welcome to the Governor Dow DeFi Friday. As we add in a few peers here, as our peers appear. I believe we are going to try and keep today's updates pretty short and sweet, as we do have the Goose proposal at the top of the next hour. So if we can kind of get everything we want to get across to you within the next 20, 30 minutes or less, and then we can pause and then come back to a conversation if we're not running straight through.
Perfect. Give a couple minutes, see if anyone else trickles in.
Yeah. Last week seemed to have a decent turnout. So maybe we'll get a couple here. If not, no harm, no foul. We are considering the options of pushing this out into a bi-weekly conversation so that can give us some more time to deliberate in-house and expand on these endeavors, as there are some things that we still have to keep on the wraps until more progress has been rendered. Greetings, iPhone. Welcome to the chat. How has everybody's week been?
Dude, I minted the last art block today. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Wow, interesting.
There's the 100th art block collection. I got the last one.
Huh. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have it listed for 100 ETH. It'll probably sit in my wallet till the end of time, but I like looking at it.
I like looking at it listed for 100 ETH. It's like the governor NFT that's like sitting there for 25 ETH. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Eth Ledger has his listed for like, is that yours that's 25 Eth Ledger, or it's like 100? One of those two.
I've yet to
Interesting
set
enough.
a price, but probably go to 1,000 at least.
Perfect.
I was putting all mine up at 100 ETH each, just to kind of, set the tone.
Right.
Oh, Ulysses has his up at 100, it looks like.
That's what it is. Somebody has it.
I think that's a fair price.
100 ETH, no less.
Okay, should we dig into it?
Yeah, sure. If you want to get cracking at it, no problem. Hearing some quick updates from the team.
Sure. Should I kick it off?
Yeah, start it off.
All right. So we have a few different developments or a few different work streams, I'll say, that are all starting to come together, which I'm really happy about. The different mechanics of the governance vault, governance 2.0 are built. The XGDAO, the vault itself is integrated into the front end that we've built. The proof of existence, on-chain payment referral contract is integrated. The last one to integrate is the buyback agent, and that kind of, once that's all together, we'll have some documentation on how our community members can interact with those contracts. We'll have some incentives going so that if you're interacting with those contracts, if you're sending transactions, you can essentially get raffle entries, and those raffle entries can translate to a prize of sorts. And so that's all 90% plus complete. Team will do some internal final run-throughs before we open up to the community. On the other end of things, the proof of existence kind of push from our end is going to ramp up. I'll let Cody talk about that, but what that means is there's also several contract upgrades that go into effect when we go to mainnet. That includes outfitting the proof of existence token with governance properties and incorporating an on-chain dispenser so that people can mint their own token. That'll save us gas costs versus doing mass airdrops. And so essentially, the game plan is that this governance vault and this proof of existence product are pushed to mainnet at the same time, so that by the time you can actually deposit your GDAO, get your profit share XGDAO, we're earning revenue, and you're getting more GDAO in the form of dividends from open market buybacks, which ultimately is kind of the picturesque revenue model that we're going for. Beyond that, the mines have concluded. If you haven't migrated your liquidity, make sure to move it over to the geyser so you can keep earning. We're going to work to sunset the existing mine page so that people don't try to keep depositing. It'll display that there's no more coin to be earned, but they can still move their funds out, claim their tokens, all that good stuff without any hassle. Because the mines are sunset, we don't have any contract that is explicitly tied to our Aragon treasury. That gives us some freedom to move some of those assets over into a Gnosis multisig, which gives us more control, gives us more flexibility when we push the governance vault, so that they can have token holders can independently access those funds without the team. That's essentially the end goal. And then it's also a more secure way to do it. Aragon is kind of clunky. It has a lot of issues. We might keep Aragon for a cold storage of sorts, or we might phase out altogether. That information will be communicated as soon as the governance 2.0 architecture guidelines are put into place, essentially. We had BTC Looking Thick put together some one-pagers that are nice, easy to understand graphical representations of what the proof of existence list is, how it works, as well as how XGDAO, the governance vault, works too. And that's going to be great, essentially spoon feed material. Projects that want to use, or projects who don't know they want to use our proof of existence for Sybil resistance. That's a mouthful. We can give them that one pager. They can very easily recognize the benefits straight away. Same thing with XGDAO and people who are interested in depositing their GDAO and earning dividends. Let's see, that is what's going on from my side of things. If there's no questions, I'll pass it on to Cody next.
Yeah, that seems like pretty much a good capture of the overall existence, as we're trying to map out all these pieces of the proof of existence token and building up this unique registry. We can't express enough the amount of effort that's been going on from the back end guys putting putting these last things together to try and get us over the line. We're waiting on some information from Finavant in regards to the test and prod information or the error messaging, and just trying to make sure that we have this all flowing as seamlessly as possible for when we do finally start pressing all the attention that we can onto this. There's been, like we mentioned last week, the campaign that's going to be coming about to try and push these things that was delayed with pending that error messaging, which should be sorting itself out sooner rather than later. And that's something that we're really looking forward to building, like Zane was saying, as we start transitioning into the live network. It's imperative that we kind of have some backbone of what our test net looks like, so that we're not just going live with a few of us. We actually have some more test case and some more evidence of that this is working, and then all the ways that it can. We want to, you want to find the ways that it can go wrong now, so you can fix that before later. I think Sidewinder could probably spit off a few updates around that regard, if he feels.
Well, yeah. You had most of my updates there, but I'm more than happy to expand on those. Okay, I'll rehash some of the stuff that Cody's just said, which okay. So yeah, finalising the Gleam campaign, working through a schedule and all the dependencies which will run alongside of the Gleam campaign. We're working on a Governor WordPress timeline as well, which kind of will provide a bit of a visual representation of all of those kind of key dates, which are part of the Governor journey, like the loyal, the airdrop, all those kind of events which have happened into a visual timeline. So working on that. I've been evaluating some help desk software products which we can integrate into WordPress, which will then provide the community an on-ramp in regards to login issues related to the website and other components like the POC, the governance vault when it's up and running, etc. And that would provide a bit more of a better user experience in that space. And then there's all the Finafont error login integration, just providing a better user experience on reporting on voice, audio and visual issues which users may experience, which may not be apparent to them in regards to lighting, issues with mics, etc. So yeah, and that's pretty much kind of the main components I'm working on, as well as kind of coordination of the governance vault and keeping those wheels moving in that area too.
And there's a lot of pieces that are getting plugged into play. And I'll just give you a quick update on Britton. He's was unable to make the call. He's had some more pressed conversations with the state that they're trying to kind of move us along in, trying to have some sort of formulative process for these types of matters, so we're not just shooting at random. I think John could probably spit on some of things that's been happening on his direction before we kind of move out of the critical update.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, this past week have been working primarily on SEO, marketing, and the WordPress. Taekwon Crypto did help out in regard to some of the build out stuff with the WordPress, which was quite helpful. Otherwise, just been working with the Hoth as well as internally with Sidewinder and some of the back end to get some of the server stuff and WordPress stuff chugging along nicely. Also been hooking in new keywords, etc. Our keyword base has grown by like 40% in the past 2 weeks. Our backlinks have grown by like 60% in the past 2 weeks. So that just all boils down to more, people getting to be able to see us now in all different ways, more naturally. So, this is something that I'm excited about. It's good to have. Besides that, we've been working on getting some security implementations internally as well. That's always a good thing. So as we scale, we're really just looking for that solid concrete base to work off of. Everything that we're currently doing at the moment is really just getting that set and ready to go. As other team members have mentioned here, it's really all just dependent on getting the user adoption base kicked up a notch and running it out. So hopefully with the initiatives coming, as well as this new LP initiative, that will bring the user base in that we're looking for in order to scale up viably. So
Wonderful. And that's going to be important. All the things we're kind of setting in place are the end game pieces, so that we're already starting, where we need to go, mapping out what we'll need even at the highest capacity. And that's pretty much most of our main update here. If we have any other pressing, hey, there you are, beautiful. Oh, and he's gone. Oh, he's back. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all the main things we have going on here. If anybody else has any comments, questions, concerns, we can chat about that.
Oh, let me add real quick, because I
Yeah,
forgot
go
to say this earlier. So with Britain's planning to hand deliver our DAO.
Oh, that's exciting. Yes.
Our DAO registration on July 1st, whenever the office opens,
He's
whatever day of the
flying
week that is.
Flying into Wyoming.
And so I'm getting with him to make sure he has all the proper paperwork together, since I was the one who myself and John put together the paperwork for the LLC. So we need some of that in order to transition to the DAO standing. Britton knows a lot more about it than I do. He's the guy who understands how that world works, and we leave him to it. But yeah, so I'll be working with him to make sure he has everything he needs.
We're handing in the paperwork. We're coming to the door. All right, Wyoming. We're coming to hand deliver it. Very excited.
So you know what? So John, let's get together. I'll put together a press release, and let's just assume we're going to be the first and send it out, or at the very least have that firepower.
yeah. I mean, so we can stage 2 different versions and just have the Hop handle it. No big deal.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
You got to print the Super Bowl jerseys before the game.
Let's see, what day is July 1st? July 1st is next Thursday. We got plenty of time. However,
We got 6 days.
I'm gonna look to get those compiled this weekend, just so we have it well in advance.
Cool. Very cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, the sooner the better, because then we could stage them and have them fire them in tandem. So
How many people on the planet are a part of an official DAO?
What I want to know is who else is planning to do what we're doing.
So
wonder if
I
there's
think the
gonna
way that
be-
I'm looking at it is that we want this so bad. We're so excited about it. We assume that everybody else is as excited about it.
So the other thing is that I don't think that a lot of other companies are set up to become one, because the ones that are probably much more intricate, whereas what we've done here is much more basic. We hold no assets, or very few, to be quite frank. We have no obligations whatsoever. So to dissolve and really give that, the IP and the quote unquote project, if you will, to the people legally isn't much of a problem.
We positioned ourselves like this. Luck is timing meeting preparation, right? And we're prepared. All right. Very cool. Does anybody else have any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns?
Going forward, for someone like us to be the first is, will be awesome.
Yes, I agree.
It's also much more viable than any other DAO out there. So
do you think anybody else is? Well, I guess Britain's going to let us know if anybody else is at the door with them.
we'll find out.
Yes, yeah. I'm thinking, like, should he camp out or like?
He's getting a car. He's flying in. He's going straight there. So
He's not getting a hotel room. We don't cover that. Freaking, he has to camp out outside, sleep in the car. We cover the car for one day and the freaking flight. That's it.
Do you know what
Sleep-
time he's
sleep in the
supposed to
car.
get in?
In a tent. I have
1
no
in the
idea.
morning.
Really? You just drive straight there?
So, I mean, the way I see it is that
Is he
we
camping
need to-
out?
Basically,
Dude.
he's trying to show up there as soon as it's open.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I love
okay.
it.
Hey, this
mean-
is
First
politics, man.
down.
That's a different world.
So I think I got a couple MREs we can send him just in case it's more than a few days. What happens if there's a long line, bro? He's there for like 2 months or something.
Yeah, they move.
Oh,
Nothing
I
moves
bet
slow
it's
in
empty.
Wyoming.
I bet we're the only ones there. Only because I think there are gonna
No.
be people there.
I mean, I feel like there's gonna be other people there, but just probably not waiting at the door.
They get there at 9:30 once Britain's already on his way out.
Probably, honestly.
All right, very cool. So that about wraps up everything we want to talk about here. You guys feel like meeting top of the hour for the Goose round 2 proposal?
Yeah, do we want to chat about DeFi beforehand or just a break and return?
We can if anybody wants to have any we can kind of bring it to an unofficial capacity here, chat for a few minutes. Anybody wants to pop out, we can talk in an hour or at the top of the hour, or
Yeah,
we'll see
let's do that.
there's
I have some things I want to talk about.
okay.
So I live near Venice Beach. And I don't know how closely you guys see what I talk about on Twitter. Probably closely, I hope. That's my ego, at least. I'm
No.
really into art blocks.
No.
And so one of
Yeah, I got your
the
notifications on.
one of the
No.
new
Never cared.
that's too much. I wouldn't have notifications on for me.
On one hand, I'm like, nope, never cared. Cody's like, I watch all his stuff.
I love
Um,
his TikTok.
It makes my day when I see Jeff in his kind of superhero cape or his robe, I should
My
say, his
robe.
silk robe.
No, it's-
Arguing with people on TikTok. I'll argue with that guy any day. It's fucking shitcoin hex. Like, come on. I don't even know what's going on, but I support Jeff.
dude, he gave me the green light to debate him, and now I have to figure out if I actually want to.
What?
Oh, don't be
Like,
a fool.
Now you're gonna
well, like
bitch
the-
out when I was like, Jeff will never bitch out.
Well,
Dude, what a
so you
food.
know, the thing is like it.
So who is
I
that guy?
need to have a good. If you watch his debates, he has a very like Trump-like
I already watched him. bro. Let
Trump-like
me add it,
style
man.
of. He has a very Trump-like style of debating where he's in his home court. He plays by his rules. He's in charge. You start to say something he doesn't like, and he just makes fun of you and calls you names. So
Yeah.
I need to be confident that I have a way to mitigate that. Maybe I come in with my persona tuned up to the max as well, with my pit vipers and my douchey robe, and I call him names back. But you know, it's like I want to make sure I go in and there's a positive outcome.
It's
Well,
I
funny.
like I
haven't,
said, bro,
I haven't
is-
determined what that positive outcome is yet. I need to do
I-
more homework.
I reckon.
If you
I reckon
don't want to
Jeff-
do it, dude, I will gladly take that, bro. No prep.
I reckon, Jeff, if you actually kind of just do some makeup like the Joker, I reckon that probably work as well.
That's not a bad idea. Act like be like, yeah, this is clown shit. And then you
You
can't.
can just like pull it off and really just pull a smirk every time you're trying to kind of, ream you out.
Yeah, that's like just really like act like a clown. Like, all right, I'm here. I'm at the circus. Let's dance.
Yeah, you just
I'm here
go
for the show.
do this kind of Jekyll and Hyde kind of situation, right? I think that will kind of provide immense value.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's funny.
That might be the best. That might be the most effective or the safest strategy, I'll say. But
You could just fall back on that, can't you? Yeah.
yeah, so I DM'd him and he was like, all right, let's do it right now. And like, I was at the beach. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not going on live stream right now. You need to give me a time. I'm a busy guy. And so I said I would message him next week.
Hello.
Howdy.
And
Ghost, we have you and Jim scheduled for the top of the hour. We just so on Fridays we do our like community update, and then we do a little bit of a free crypto DeFi chat. So you can hang out and chat with us until the top of the hour, or come back here in a little bit.
Sure, I can chat. Just FYI, I'll be a little quiet. Currently, I'm at home. I have some medical issues. I'm actually going in on Monday to get my lung drained of fluid.
Oh,
So
geez.
sorry about
We'll,
that.
we'll go easy on you.
Sorry to your lungs, bro.
Well, it's not as bad as what happened before. I had a 5 centimeter hole in my diaphragm.
Bruh.
Oh,
Yeah. So they pulled that that out. It's filled up with fluid, and tomorrow, well, Monday, they're gonna drain that, and hopefully after that, I'll be healthy again.
Trying to get the
Hopefully.
sympathy
Knock on
card for his
wood.
funding over here.
all
I
right.
was
Yeah,
gonna
he's,
say,
he's saying
easy for you.
he's saying John, hold back. We'll hold John back on you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was feeling like, there might be some false narratives there, but I won't say anything, okay?
It's fine.
Uh,
Just know that I might be quiet. That's why I'm quiet. I can't speak
Sure.
really loud. That's all.
Yeah.
We have
Gotcha.
a minimal decibel rating though, unfortunately. So
Okay, that's whatever.
Yeah, we,
43.2.
we don't get too heated in here. We keep it friendly. Should be okay.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
how are y'all doing in DeFi?
I'm doing. I'll say
Um,
that. I'm doing.
If I didn't
Just
have
another day in paradise.
strong nodes farming, how much money would we be making right now?
Oh, okay. So I want to talk about this art blocks thing. So I'm really into art blocks and I'm really into NFTs. And so there's this new art blocks mint called Crypto Venetians. And you can only claim a Crypto Venetian if you go to like this local gallery in Venice Beach. And the purpose of the NFT is it's like a local membership. So they onboarded like these different restaurants and clubs and like these different places. And like, so if you have a Crypto Venetian, you can go to like the downstairs speakeasy underneath the restaurant that is like, typically invite only, or when they do like live music on Saturdays, you can come to the venue and that kind of stuff, which to me is like one of the really exciting prospects of NFTs, rather than having it, oh, I am this person and I made this thing for my project. It's more along the lines of, here's this thing everyone's in. If you want access to this group or access to this community, you use this like kind of universal membership type NFT. So I was
Like a
pretty
proof of existence
psyched
token?
about that.
So you really like NFTs that actually have a purpose to them, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. I have a surprise for you.
Ooh, I
We
like
got some
surprises
uni
too.
socks for you.
Uni
Well,
socks.
You want to give me some uni socks after the fact?
Oh man, I remember I saw that when those things were like a few $100. I was like, oh, these are the most expensive
That's
socks in the
ridiculous
world.
for
That's so
socks.
silly.
Now we're
I
ridiculous.
think we all had that same train of thought.
All we had to do was go all in on Doge in January and then sell last month, and you don't have to do anything for that. So the market's a meme.
Dude, I had a normie friend who was like, bought Doge whenever, like January over the summer or something, sold it in like February or March. No, it wasn't. He would have sold it in April, like right around the top. And he was like, oh yeah, I don't know anything about it. I thought it was funny. I put a little bit of money in, I cashed out, made like 90K. That's pretty cool. And I was like, like in my head, I was like, oh, this jackass just out traded the entire market.
Yeah.
But that was still at the top. So I was like, oh yeah, we're all making so much money. This is awesome.
Yeah, we're all rich, bro. You should sell that. Like,
but yeah, my gains were mostly unrealized.
oh
So
man.
what do you think the next cycle of the market is? We had our meme tokens. What's next? Corporate tokens?
DAOs, I hope.
Yeah, I've been saying for a little while we're working on the 2022 buzzword.
DAOs, I hope. DAOs or DeFi round 2 would be my guess.
I would imagine, well, people are talking about, layer 2 type things.
Layer 6. That's what's next. Telling you.
So
Just skipping a few.
So on your topic of DAOs, what do you really think makes a DAO a DAO?
the board of directors and the lack of a central point of authority, or there's one of the benefits and the drawbacks is that people have to be on top of each other, and there's not necessarily like a designated, but we kind of keep it, school of fish mentality, where if we're moving one direction and then the person that's best for that, they'll be in front. And if we pivot, whoever's in front for that direction, they'll be in front. I think that's one of the rubs for a DAO on if it's going to succeed or not. If their group can act as a school of fish.
Yeah, I would say like,
Question on that note, how much power do you think that a board of directors should have in relation to, say, an average user?
the way that I kind
Depends at
of
what point.
look at it is like, there's always going to have to be a privileged set of individuals, because some things require someone to be in charge, or some things need to be private. And I think the mark of a true DAO is if every privileged position in the organization can be one that is managed by the token holders. So everything's appointed, elected, or otherwise checked by the average user. So
if a DAO had 100% on-chain governance voting for every single function, and every single function had levers that the community was able to stake their tokens in, how much of a DAO do you think that is?
I would say that qualifies.
Well, but who's going to actually maintain the levers, and who maintains the infrastructure?
Well,
That's always going to be my question at the end.
Or rather,
So-
how are those roles determined?
Yeah.
So the votes themselves would end up, well, the levers would be, say, just a format that's deployed on a per token basis, for example, if this DAO were to be managing other tokens.
Yep.
But because it's a template and not something that can be manually tinkered with, I think this is something that, I mean, the only thing that Dev,
how about a
had-
51% attack? Not coin token, not token count wise, voting count wise.
yes, a 51% account attack would be possible on such a DAO. But
Okay.
is
Cheat out classic.
So can you have a 51% attack on a DAO? Because that's
Oh,
pretty
for
much
sure.
it's what no, but what I mean is if 50%, 51% of tokens vote to drain the treasury, whatever, that's the DAO reaching consensus to liquidate themselves. Is that the same as a 51% attack?
Yeah, so it really requires good thought and planning on what levers you want to exactly give the token holders to avoid an event like treasury draining, right?
So I think that, my point of view goes kind of in line with what Jeff said. Like, we've all talked about this many times because of the industry we're all in, right? And in my mind, it's when we talk 100% decentralized, total decentralization, think about, just diametrically how that would work. Because by definition,
it's very difficult to obtain.
Well, not only the obtain part, but by definition, psychology as well as socioeconomically, that doesn't function that way. Because when people are left to their own completeness, there's nobody providing, there's nobody signaling, there's nobody that's working on this. And just like you see in the DAO, even at the team level and at the provider level, et cetera, there's this mentality that, well, I don't need to share this post to further the DAO because everyone else will. And then everyone else in the DAO thinks that. So then you get 1% engagement.
It doesn't further your own interests per se.
Well, it does, but they just depend on the fact that everyone else will. But then everyone else, does the same thing. So once again, if you don't have someone there,
I don't have to do it.
So would you
If you don't
consider
have someone
Bitcoin?
there as an arbitrator to say, hey, listen, guys, this is the marketing move. This is what we're doing, right? And at the highest levels, even right now with GDAO, and we're not fully decentralized yet, but even at the current state we're in, the centralization only comes from a doing business standpoint. Because the thing is like in the hypothetical DAO you're talking about, you can't perform business. I mean, you can't do business with any fiat facing company. They just won't do
Well,
it. From
well,
a legal
so
standpoint, you can't.
well, you say that, and yet at the same time, Bitcoin is out there being accepted by taxi drivers.
Well,
That's
but no,
like,
that's two different things, though, brother. I was saying, how do you perform business?
well,
Because by definition, like, so I mean, if I go out right now and I buy for a pair of shoes on Craigslist with Bitcoin, right? That's a non-taxable event. It's an as-like event, so non-taxable. Even if it was a taxable event, it wouldn't matter because the cost of the Bitcoin and everything else would be factored in as if it was a fiat. But in the case of you performing business, I mean, you need to be a licensed and registered business in order to do business with other entities. How
I
would
mean,
you
you
be
can
taxed?
you
How would
can.
you pay
so
taxes,
so
Well,
etc.?
I mean,
let's
whether or not it's
I
legal
have
is a different question.
okay.
know,
Well,
So
yeah,
a lot of
let's take a step back on that, and here's just a thought experiment for you.
yeah,
Uber.
for sure.
So let's take a hypothetical Uber killer DAO. Now, an Uber killer DAO would have drivers that get paid in a currency that is not the currency of the DAO. For example, they could be paid in DAI. Then they register and add their app with it, and then they push contracts to the push transactions to the blockchain. Smart contracts on the blockchain arrange for which driver gets matched with which user, and there's nobody needed in the middle for that. Now, this doesn't seem like a traditional DAO in the terms of like the finance DAOs we've seen. And I'm going to specifically call out, it's a good one, one that has voting on it, Badger DAO. Their model has voting on it, but who ultimately implements the votes? That's a good question. Whereas with our hypothetical taxi DAO, there really is no need to vote in such a thing, but well, you might need to vote up or down a driver's competence, or if they were good or bad as a driver or a passenger. But those votes could be handled by some non-monetary token here. What I'm getting at here is that when people think governorship tokens, many times they think pure money and they think value. It's like, why do I want this token? Because it gives value. And the ETH pool on Uniswap has a bunch of ETH that I can swap this for value. And that mindset is, in my opinion, it's kind of toxic for a DAO as a whole. But if you can change the underlying psychology to instead think of a token not as a thing that has value in monetary terms, but has value in usage terms, then you can really change the psychology of the way people use tokens. Do you understand?
it could be both too. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be a one or the other.
I agree.
I'm really drawn to the idea, like the big, maybe the most interesting aspect of DAOs to me is how it's a new set of tools to align incentives. So people can contribute to Uber DAO or whatever DAO because it's set up in such a way where, one, because it's a DAO, it's permissionless, so there's a low barrier entry, and then people who want to participate can. But beyond that, their participation, their good behavior is incentivized to make them want to do more good behavior. And I think that's where a lot of the monetary draw comes in. And I think it would be difficult to envision an effective model that is absent of that altogether. Like an Uber DAO, if participation is you drive, you pick up riders, and you get whatever, you get your 10 DAI for the ride. There's still the element of who manages the app, who vets the drivers, who deals with local legislators, and if there's no monetary incentive, or if there's no treasury that can fund that kind of, or fund people to do that kind of stuff, then it's hard to find. I would say it's hard to find people who want to do it just because they like the project. You might find people who do it.
So here's a different approach. Just a thought for a DAO that enforces ownership over, say, anything that can be locked up with an electronic key. The DAO itself has just a bunch of smart contracts, and it has a bunch of tokens that are NFTs that denote ownership over a specific block or device or car. The NFT is sold with the car. Then you can take the NFT and you stake it. And the NFT would generate, say, little blocks of time. Each block of time is represented by a token. So you could hand these blocks off to other people, and they could use that to have temporary ownership over your car. But what does ownership mean? And here's the rub of this. DAOs themselves are completely powerless without some sort of real world control over them. You can vote however you want, but unless there is something in the real world backing up, that vote can be ignored for the most part, if it's not entirely on chain. So if you're doing something with ownership, the lock in this case is what could enforce ownership over this. Now, this is just a hypothetical idea, but if such a DAO were to be made, then what would end up with the companies like Starlink track vehicles, or companies that track electric skates? All those companies would go out of business immediately as manufacturers raced to standardize themselves DAO, because the DAO in this case would offer a cheaper service than the Starlink company or the company that allowed you to rent bikes. And it would be a more secure service as well. And in this way, the standardization of the DAO, the game theory rules of the DAO itself, caused the DAO to advance control over a specific service sector. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, that my whole, like, my existential is not the right word, but my big theory on why DAOs will be impactful is because if you do them right, you can do business better than a standard corporation, because you can enforce ownership in code like you're suggesting. You can automate different functions of the enterprise that you can't in a traditional corporation. And
The transparency is paramount.
yeah, and I think DAOs will be able to represent superior business models that will force traditional corporations out of business. I think it'll start with like the most inefficient industries, something like an insurance, where insurance is pretty inefficient in the fact that so much money goes to lobbying, advertising, lawsuits, versus if you have like DAO insurance pools where you pick your rates, you pick the coverage, and you get out what you put in. That's always going to be better than a traditional insurance company.
At that point, I think the real question is, in order to make those things become DAOs, you really just need to be able to hire people by the DAO.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And at some point, it becomes a question of vetting. And
Well, you
But-
see what happens in government, right? It's very similar. Government's very DAO-like, but it doesn't know it. And I think that the whole, the decentralized governance model and having contractual politics based on, computer algorithms is going to prove to be the supreme way of, running governance, right? Because everything's pre-written out, nobody gets fair play. And there's nobody, there's no real way ideally in this type of governance for people to be treated unfairly.
So here's a question. What would you think of a project that's specifically linked?
Now you just muted yourself, Ghost.
Um,
There you know.
There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Specifically linked.
Missed that last couple sentences.
All right, so let's say it linked a blockchain ID to a real world ID. Like, let's say on a driver's database. What do you think that would do for advancing the case for a merging of government and DAOs?
So having that
That's exactly what we're
individual,
looking to do.
so having that individual mapped out. So depending on which direction you wanted to come with that, you could do it from the states level now, where you're working with what they have now with all of their type of information, and then working reverse to cover all those people. Or you could have it in that way where the state would be kind of in ownership, but in harboring that data. And that's opposed to as if you wanted to start your own country and start collecting all of your new data for your citizens, right? So there's really that.
We need to talk after this, not on the main chat, but we definitely do need to talk because there's something that's I'm involved with in that regard, but I'm gonna keep it under wraps for now.
Yeah, like what Ulysses said, the medical records, driver's licenses, a person's entire profile. So all these things, that's what the proof of existence token was originally, a proof of existence NFT that gave you a representation of ownership within a DAO. So you are an active member you're affiliated, right? I think a concept that we should explore more and build up on, and people into the future as we're shaping DAOs, is affiliating and becoming a member of these organizations. Same way you become, a member of AAA, or the same way you become a member of a bike gang, So these DAOs are going to be very varied in what their services they offer are. You might, in a decade, you might be a part of 10 different DAOs that are all affiliated with different types of businesses. And think about this, hypothetically, right? If the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income and you're staked in 7 different DAOs, then your ownership of 7 different companies that are all DAOs that are passively paying you, same way stocks or dividends or any other types of things, that's 7 streams of income, right? So the way that you're able to build these things up, and let's say you did have an insurance DAO that did cover your insurance, and now you're getting paid passively through your insurance, and then you have your governance DAO, which also has your all-encompassing affiliation tool of their proof of existence tokens and affiliated whitelists, and you build at that, and that separates. And I think in the future, every organization is going to have an authenticated whitelist or an authenticated registry. And
so on that note, I kind of have the same thought, but my way of thinking about it is every single organization, government-wise, that is sitting out there is an oracle waiting to be hired, and they don't know it.
Right.
They're free money or free data.
Dyer, that's your that kind of goes back to your idea that DAOs are gonna wage war against countries. A different way to look at it, but
I would think that a global governance body, with the power, with the funds, what couldn't you do?
Well, here's something to think about. Once you have DAOs that represent every single citizen and have a proof of existence, then you can roll out applications that do liquid democracy or ranked choice voting, not on the representatives, but on the very laws and propositions that go before Congress currently. And if you do that, then you can take away the influence of money over congressionals. And
I think
that,
what you're gonna see over the next decade too is a large transition of YouTube politicians and streamer politicians. And over the next 20 years, TikTok. I don't want to say it like that, but literally people campaigning their whole existence is online. And think about the paper politics that we have now and the garbage that's all just masses of paper on top of other masses of paper that are amending and doing other shit piles of paper, excuse my language. But it's like what we're in aims of and what we're working towards with these ideas of decentralized governance and these not necessarily computer run governance, but these contractual obligations that's going to totally overrun these paper promise society that we're living in now.
and if you want to talk contractual obligations, let's just talk for a second about the fiasco that is GameStop and the fraudulent share offerings that Citadel was able to do because brokers were able to borrow and, in effect, double spend shares when other people were shorting. Imagine for a second if stocks were sold on the blockchain. They'd never be able to double spend a share. But in our case, we have 200, 300, 400% of the outstanding float interest in shorts. So yeah, double spending extraordinaire. And the only thing that stops it is punishments by the SEC. And of course, if you pay the SEC enough money, they'll never punish anybody.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of you decentralize the finances and then you decentralize the governance.
Yep.
I think there's going to be some really interesting opportunities for how these DAOs and how these organizations grow over the next decade. And I think there's going to be a lot of power in these types of organizations.
Okay.
I think so tokens that own tokens are going to be the most valuable tokens, in my opinion. Companies that own companies and DAOs that own DAOs and own tokens are going to be the biggest influences and the biggest networks.
If that's the case, you're going to really enjoy this presentation. I'm just going to say that right now.
I'm so excited.
Okay.
Just we just got a couple minutes before that. We can kind of chit chat
Yes,
and
8
keep the
minutes.
same
Tell
call.
me, let's just shoot the breeze. It's something random, something not crypto related. Did you get a Lambo yet?
Oh man, last month I was helping my mom. I was like talking to my mom about buying her house, and now I'm texting her about staying on her couch.
Oh God.
No,
Uh,
but
so,
I'm down bad, sir. I'm down bad.
So Lambo or Tesla, your choice.
Bus pass. Paying my truck bill.
I personally want a Tesla, but oh well.
Jess has a Tesla. Jeff has a Tesla. He can tell you all about it.
All right, Jeff, you're up.
I think
Tell
he's
us
actually
about your
getting a
Tesla.
snack. Actually, I'm
Oh.
gonna run to the bathroom here real quick.
All right.
Dude, I just fucking backed into someone with my Tesla today.
No.
You're like such a dumbass. It's not bad. I mean, it won't be that big of a
Did
deal.
the Tesla do it, or did you do it?
I did it. I was zooming out of the parking spot, and there was a big ass truck that wasn't pulled in all the way, and it wasn't like I backed straight into it. It's like I was turning out, and like the corner of my car clipped like that little ledge on the back of the truck so you can step up on.
Oh no.
A little dent, and gotta get that
Okay,
fixed.
this might qualify as showing Tesla a bit, but my question is, how much repairs have you had to put into that Tesla outside bodywork from self-inflicted harm?
Oh, nothing, but I just got mine like 6 months ago. It's been fine for 6 months.
If you want a scary story that happened, I actually got hit by a truck while I was in my car, and my car just completely got smashed. That's a scary story.
Oh God. Well, I'm glad you're alive and you're here.
Yeah, I guess I'm the type of person where I was honking and they didn't hear me for whatever reason. And then I just kind of thought to myself, okay, well, I guess I'm dead. And then everything happened and I'm still here.
You're like, oh, I guess this is it. It was a good ride.
And thank your lucky
High five,
stars.
everybody. I guess that's all.
So Jeff, this DeFi Friday and the Atlantis thing, do you want to break it up into two different viewings?
Yeah, we should. I think we can stay in this Zoom, but let's have.
Well, let's break it up into two separate kind of agendas, and then that way at least it's easier to view in regards to DeFi Friday, and then obviously the Atlantis situations are two different gigs. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. So do you think we need to do a separate Zoom call for that, or can we just have Cody stop recording and then start recording? Does that just make it the same recording?
Oh, I'll leave that. I'm not sure. I assume that. Yeah. I suppose Cody just stopped recording. Yeah, good point.
I guess we'll leave it. I don't. I'm never the one who does the recordings. I don't know how it works, but we'll. I guess that'll be Cody's judgment. But yeah, should definitely have them separated for people viewing so they can look at just the ice
Two
presentation.
agendas. Exactly.
Let me know when you're ready.
When Cody
I mean,
comes
I'm
back,
always
we'll
ready.
ask him what he needs to do just to split them up.
Dry leaves to put out Tesla fires. Oh man. I don't know. Could you smother a fire with enough dry leaves? Quite a question.
I'm just imagining somebody being like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna throw more leaves on it, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
I mean, well, if you had enough dry leaves hitting the Tesla at the same time, okay, fine. But it would probably require something on the sort of, those dump trucks that they use in strip mining. One of those dump trucks full
Oh,
of dry
yeah.
leaves. Yeah,
Yeah.
dump that on a
I mean,
fire.
of course, those are huge.
This guy
That's-
goes, I use gasoline to put out Tesla fires.
Use more lithium.
You certainly can't use water. I'll just get you electrocuted.
I guess nobody's heard of fire extinguishers.
I personally wish that the Tesla cars, when they crashed, instead of catching fire, they went and just started letting out arcs everywhere, like a Tesla coil arc, and just sprayed lightning all over the place. That would be magnificent. Sadly, not the way physics works.
Got a minute, boys. Are you nervous?
Not really. I've been living and breathing Atlantis for the last 2 weeks. I know exactly what I'm gonna give you.
Oh, geez.
Cody, just a heads up. We're going to stop the recording on the DeFi Friday and then reconvene the recording for the Atlantis gig.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to do a new chat or just stop and record?
I wasn't sure how it worked on that space, so I think you can just stop the